On to react to this very, 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 very tight NFC West. Should I say very again? Extremely tight NFC West, which currently has the Cardinals sitting top with 6 wins and 4 losses. 49ers sitting second with 5 wins, 4 losses. Rams 4 wins, 5 losses. Seahawks 4 wins, 5 losses. So all teams have played 9 games besides Arizona that's played that 10th game that puts them half a game ahead of the Niners. Combination of playing that extra game and getting that victory in that game, and also they have the tiebreak over the Niners because they've beaten the 49ers this season, and they also have a 2-0 division record with wins that they got over the 49ers and the Rams, and now they are on their bye, so the 49ers have a chance to, if they can beat Seattle, they'll be level with Arizona in terms of record, but the division record, 49ers Cardinals will have the tiebreaker because of head-to-head number one and the division record, them being 2-2. And if let's say the Niners take care of the Seahawks, it will be 2-2 for the Niners, while the Cardinals are 2-0 in the division. And by the way, speaking of Cardinals in division games, they play Seahawks twice in the next 3 weeks, so we'll get to know a little bit more. But just speaking of that NFC West, it's very, very tight in there. Seahawks are coming off a bye week. The 49ers taking on Seattle off of a bye week, which is the third out of 4 opponents that the 49ers will face this season coming off a bye. That's ridiculous schedule making. At Roger Goodell, middle finger to you. I can't do it right now, but middle finger to you as a 49er fan. How can you, and I know he doesn't decide it. There's obviously schedule makers, and I'm sure AI isn't involved with that in the process. I don't know exactly how that goes. But how can the 49ers get 4 teams that are coming off a bye? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But that's not the conversation to be had here. So yeah, the Rams, they had that win streak going with wins against the Vikings, Seahawks, Raiders, Vikings, Seahawks, but then they had, in my opinion, a really bad loss against the Miami Dolphins team. Against the Dolphins team, that's not the greatest team defensively, but the Rams couldn't score a single touchdown at home, and lost to a Miami team that entered that game 2-6. I thought that was a really, really bad loss for the Rams in a tight NFC West. I think those are the sort of games that you have to take care of, especially because I thought the momentum was with the Rams. I was very surprised at that. And now, so now they're sitting 4-5. But the thing is, within the division, they are 2-1. They beat the Niners, they beat Seahawks, and they had that really bad loss to Arizona. So they're still in that mix of it. Seattle, they're still in the mix of it as well. Thing though, Seattle has Geno Smith, and that's they have Geno Smith, and I'm not a big fan of Geno Smith. That last game that they played against the Rams, I think he single-handedly lost them that game. I think he's been pretty poor in a lot of games this season. I thought he had a really good game against the Lions, and he's good for a good game here and there. But overall, I thought his season he's been poor, and I just think that offense is not dynamic enough, specifically coming from that quarterback position, and it's a team in work in progress. I think defensively they've struggled this season in certain moments, giving up 31 to the Bills, 36 to the Niners. 42 against the Lions. But then they have these certain masterful games against the Seahawks and against the Rams. Honestly, I thought throughout the duration of the game they were arguably the better team. They just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish in the red zone. They turned the ball over twice in the red zone. One ended up leading to a pick six, and these moments led to overtime. And in overtime, the Seahawks couldn't take advantage when they got the ball, and then the Rams, they got that touchdown. But if you have, sometimes I like analyzing games in terms of duration of the game, which, I can understand why people would think it's wrong, because who wins wins and who loses loses, and you have to execute to win at this league. If you dominate the game, it doesn't mean crap. But I thought Seattle was the better team in that Rams game. I just think Rams just executed better, and Seattle didn't execute. But with Geno Smith, I don't believe in the Seattle Seahawks team. The Rams will always be a team that I believe is a legit contending team when you have Sean McVay and Sam and Matthew Stafford, when you have that head coach quarterback partnership that is extremely talented. you can't count them out. Um, but I thought that loss against Miami was pretty poor. But we'll see. They have an opportunity now to bounce back against New England, and if they can get their 5-5, we'll see what they can do with the duration of their season. They have the Eagles, Bills, Niners still yet to play, Arizona as well. So not an easy schedule for them, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to them. As far as the 49ers, look, they're now 5-4 for the first time since week 1. They have a winning record. They have some difficult games coming up. So, they play Seattle this week. And then after that, they got Packers, Bills. They still have the Rams. They have Miami, Detroit, Arizona. They have some games. But the 49ers have proven that they can go on these crazy runs. It's just whether or not they can play better executional football, if they can improve the special teams, if they can finish in the, they need to finish in the red zone, improve special teams, and even defensively, I think it's been better than what we've seen from earlier this season. I think they're starting to be a little bit more better. And I thought this 49ers defense showed some really, really good signs when they were progressive, that they were progressing from earlier this season, when they were able to keep that Buccaneers team out of the end zone at the end, held them to a field goal, and gave the ball to Brock Purdy in a tie game with a chance to lead that game-winning drive. 49ers defense has been collapsing earlier this season. This time around, I think in the last few games, they've shown us that they've been able to get the stop when necessary. But the special teams woes have to go away. And the red zone. The red zone efficiency has to improve. If this 49ers team wants to go on that run, they have to improve, because despite them, as I said about Seattle going up against Rams, despite them playing much better than their opponents, dominating the game in terms of average yards per play and yards during the game and all that, they're not finishing in the red zone, and they're giving up bad field position in special teams. They're missing field goals. They're giving up fakes. They're just doing everything they can in the special teams facet to ruin the game for them. That these games are coming down to the wire against teams that they should never come down to the wire. The 49ers should have absolutely smacked the Cowboys. They were they were way better than them, but they kept the Cowboys into that game. I'd say the same thing about Seattle. I'd say the same thing about Arizona. Arizona had no business winning that game against San Francisco. I'd say that especially about that Rams. The Rams collapse. And the Arizona collapse was horrible. I thought the Buccaneers collapse was pretty bad too, but they didn't end up collapsing in that game. They ended up, getting that victory. There's been games this season that the 49ers just can't close, and it has to get better if they want to, challenge. I think this NFC West has a potential to come down to the wire week 18. 49ers going up to Arizona, or I don't know, geographically it's east to Arizona, I guess. Going east to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals at Glendale Stadium, State Farm Stadium, whatever you want to call it. It might come down to that, and obviously as a football fan, if you're a neutral football fan, that's as exciting as it gets. The old guard taking on the new guard trying to take away the division title from the old guard trying to announce themselves that, oh, we're still the team to beat in the NFC West, and we're still the best. I'm excited, and hopefully, as a 49 fan, hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully we have it wrapped up before then, but, it's looking like that might be a real possibility, and I think the NFC West is really wide open. In terms of winning it, though, I do think the 49ers are still the favorites, but it could get tricky because 49ers have a difficult record, and Arizona's playing good football this season. I think the Rams could be in there for that as well. I don't think Seattle. I think Seattle's a class below. I don't believe in their quarterback. I don't believe. What I do with the other three teams is I do to a certain extent believe in Kyler Murray. I definitely believe in Matthew Stafford. And I believe in Brock Purdy as well. And I believe in the head coaches of those three teams. I think what Gannon has done with the Arizona Cardinals, coming from Philadelphia. Look, I didn't think he was a good hire at first, but he's changing the culture of that Cardinals team. There's not much else to add about Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. Yes, there's the negatives of him, but he's still able to, it's late game situations in the playoffs where, you can do your questioning. not in terms of competing and winning the NFC West. He's done that almost religiously for the last few years now. So yeah, I think the NFC West is might come down to the wire, and probably the most interesting division in football. We thought we might get that with the NFC North, which has been really, really interesting in terms of the front three teams. But I think Chicago Bears are falling apart, and I think it's pretty clear that all three of those teams will be in the playoffs. With the NFC West, it's tricky because you probably could have max two playoff teams. So these games are going to be very, very, very important.